Paul Alexander, polio-infected man who spent over 70 years inside iron lung, dies at 78. A remarkable figure whose life was a testament to human resilience and determination, passed away on March 11, 2024. Born on January 30, 1946, in Dallas, Texas, Paul's life took an unexpected turn when he contracted polio at the tender age of 6. The disease left him paralyzed from the neck down, and he became one of the last people to use an iron lung, a device that helped him breathe for over 70 years. Paul Alexander was just 6 years old when he contracted polio in 1952, leaving him paralyzed below the neck for his entire life. Since the disease did not allow him to breathe independently, the doctors decided to place him inside a metal cylinder, where he spent the remaining years of his life. What was his cause of death? Iron lung man Paul Alexander's cause of death is revealed after polio left him paralyzed and living in metal casing for more than 70 years. Ultimately, it was not an iron lung defect, but a corona infection that led to his death. He died peacefully in the presence of his brother, German newspaper Süddeutsche Zeitung reports. The publication printed what may be the final interview with Alexander this week, with the extraordinary man telling its reporter earlier this year that he had almost died 1,000 times and suspected he did not have much time left. The 78-year-old was admitted to hospital and tested positive for COVID-19 last month, his social media manager told his legion of fans in a TikTok video posted on February 27th. He was discharged and went home, the man called Lincoln said, but was still weak. Despite the challenges, Paul's spirit remained unbroken. He pursued education with fervor, becoming one of the first homeschooled students in the Dallas Independent School District. His unique learning methods allowed him to graduate second in his class from Samuel High School without physically attending a class. His academic journey didn't stop there. He went on to earn a bachelor's degree and a Juris Doctor from the University of Texas at Austin. In 1984, he completed his law degree at the University of Texas at Austin. Subsequently, he was admitted to the bar and even practiced as a lawyer for decades. Paul's brother Philip Alexander, while remembering him, stated that he was a warm and welcoming person who always had a big smile on his face that would put people around him at ease. He was just a normal brother to me. We fought, we played, we loved, we partied, we went to concerts together. He was just a normal brother. I never thought about it, Philip said. Philip also stated that he was in awe of his brother as he was self-sufficient and even dealt with an illness that disrupted him from performing his day-to-day tasks, including feeding himself. As per reports, when Paul became ill in 1952, the doctors in his hometown Dallas operated on him. Although they saved his life, polio left him with a permanent disability as he was paralyzed down the neck and could no longer breathe on his own. In order to help him breathe, the doctors placed him in an iron lung, a metal cylinder that enclosed his body up to his neck. Paul had come up with his own name for the iron lung and called it his old iron horse. The iron lung had bellows inside it which sucked air out of the cylinder and forced his lungs to expand, taking in the air. As the air was let back in, the same process in reverse made his lungs deflate. After a few years, he had learned to breathe by himself, enabling him to leave the iron lung for short periods. The last iron lung was manufactured almost 50 years ago, and it was difficult for Paul to find people who could help in the maintenance of the device that was helping him breathe. He was the last person to have used the contraption. Paul defied all odds, surviving decades. What were his last words before he died? In his final days, battling COVID-19 while confined to the iron lung, Paul Alexander's brother, Philip Alexander, shared a poignant moment. Paul opened his eyes and looked at Philip, saying, "This is perfect." These words encapsulate the spirit of a man who faced immense challenges with grace and acceptance. Paul pursued his dreams of becoming a trial lawyer and represented clients in court in a three-piece suit and a modified wheelchair that held his paralyzed body upright. He also staged a sit-in for disability rights and published his own memoir, titled 3 Minutes for a Dog, My Life in an Iron Lung. The 155-page memoir was carefully crafted and took 5 years to complete. Paul wrote each word with a pen attached to a stick in his mouth. Paul outlived both of his parents, his brother, and even his original iron lung, which began leaking air in 2015, but was repaired by mechanic Brady Richards after a YouTube video of Paul pleading for help was uploaded. The ventilator, a large yellow metal box, requires patients to lie down inside, with the device fastened tightly around their neck. It works by creating a vacuum to mechanically draw in oxygen to the lungs for patients whose central nervous system and respiratory function were affected by polio. While in hospital, doctors tried to get Paul to breathe on his own, turning off the machine and forcing him out, but it wouldn't take long for him to turn blue and pass out. Despite the availability of more modern ventilators, Paul decided to continue using the iron lung machine because he was used to it. Paul's achievements are a beacon of inspiration. He became a lawyer, practicing in a modified wheelchair that held his body upright, and even self-published a memoir in 2020. His story reached people worldwide, garnering over 330,000 followers on TikTok, where he shared insights into his life. Videos in which he discussed his illness and shared his optimism clocked tens of millions of views, inspiring many Zoomers. Thousands flocked to the page to pay tribute to Alexander upon his passing, including one who wrote, "Rest in peace, Paul. You were extremely inspirational and you honestly helped me change my perspective on life. You really will be missed." Another devastated admirer pinned, "You were the most inspirational person I have had the enjoyment of following. Forever fly high." Lincoln noted that the popularity of the TikTok account meant they were able to monetize a number of the viral videos, providing money for care in Alexander's final days. Meanwhile, Alexander's brother, Philip, thanked people on Tuesday for donating to his GoFundMe. More than $143,400 was raised for Alexander's healthcare costs. "I am so grateful to everybody who donated to my brother's fundraiser," Philip stated. "It allowed him to live his last few years stress-free. It will also pay for his funeral during this difficult time." It is absolutely incredible to read all the comments and know that so many people were inspired by Paul. The organizer of the fundraiser, Christopher Ulmer, set up the page years ago, claiming Alexander had been the victim of theft. He was taken advantage of by people who were supposed to care for his best interests, he wrote at the time. This theft, combined with the high cost of health care, has left Paul with little money to survive. He struggles to maintain his iron lung, afford health care, and find housing that accommodates his needs. Paul lives in a small one-room apartment that does not have a window. Paul Alexander's life reminds us that the human spirit can triumph over adversity, and his memory will undoubtedly live on as a source of motivation and hope for many. Rest in peace, Paul.